Hi, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is another wee meals of the week, and this week I'm going to show you a couple of quick dinners and things that we had. I haven't shown you our Friday night takeaway only because I filmed it as a completely separate video for you. So it's a bit of a come cook with me, so hopefully you do enjoy it. But anyway, I'm going to get cracking and show you what all we had this week. For my first dinner here, I got some gammon steaks from the butcher's, and this juice that you see in the pan is actually just the pineapple juice, and also I've added some honey and a balsamic vinegar just for a bit of a glaze. So everybody's going to be eating that tonight, and I've also got a few slices of maple cured bacon. So mine and Alistair, we're having it all with some peas, and we've got baked potato. The kids are having some chips and little mini croquets. We're basically clearing out anything from the freezer, making room for Christmas. So it's kind of a little odd dinner, but yeah, one that everyone seems to enjoy. The next night is a favourite of the kids, and these are meatballs. So basically they've just been rolled with onions inside, and I'd done them in a freezer prep, so they're straight out of the freezer. And then I'm making a batch of the tomato sauce that goes with it. So all this is passata and a lot of Italian seasoning. Then I'm going to keep a little bit of it to the side and then make it with paprika and hot chili for the meatballs. I've added in the meatballs, and then basically it's going in the oven in a casserole dish for another 20 to 30 minutes until they're really soft inside. So they come out piping hot like this, and this will actually do the kids the next day as leftovers as well because they love it that much. We've got some Parmesan cheese. We'll be serving it with just spaghetti, and then some little dough balls from Pizza Express. So the next evening then, me and Alistair are going to have a separate dinner. So we're using up these chicken breast fillets, and then we've got some mozzarella cheese, some Parma ham, a bag of new potatoes, and a nice bunch of asparagus. And this is probably one of my favourite dinners that's relatively easy to make. So all we're going to do is seal up that Parma ham. So I've made a good cut inside it and put my slices of mozzarella cheese. Make sure not to butterfly it fully or it will start to ooze out. We're wrapping it in the Parma ham and then just in the frying pan with a tiny bit of oil, and then we're going to seal it up. You can also get rid of those juices then. Then I pop it in the casserole dish and we're going to finish it off in the oven. That is basically it. Finishing it in the oven for about 30 minutes. And then in the pan here, I've blanched my asparagus already and added in some mini piccolo tomatoes. All I've done really is added a little bit of pepper. I don't bother with salt as the saltiness will be in the Parma ham. And then, yep, that's us all plated up. So we've got those little new potatoes. I just put some crushed garlic and a little bit of salt with it. And this is a good one to make double off if you're making it. So the chicken with the wrapped Parma ham, because it's really nice just sliced with the salad the next day or for a lunch even. So then the next night I've got two sick boys with temperatures, so I've reached for this butter chicken sachet. It was actually in Home Bargains for 70p. A viewer recommended it, so I've done no cooking basically tonight. I've just cooked some chicken here, lifted out some frozen peas and frozen onions, and then added the sachet in. So I'm serving up with some rice, and that's mine and Alistair's, Dylan and Lola's. And butter chicken is something that I do now and again from scratch, but to be honest, this wasn't a bad alternative and I would try it again. So the next day I am making some chicken vegetable soup. So it's a nice winter warmer, probably a classic we always make. So I've got my chopped soup vegetables, my chicken stock cubes, and then some lentils as well. And then my big pot ready to go. So I've actually got chicken thighs with the bone in, and this will give me so much more flavour. So these have been cooking for a good 30 minutes. So when they're completely cooked through, then I just put them to the side, and then they're going to cool down until I strip them right down. So if you see, all I done was covered this in liquid, and the colour of that's quite brown, so that shows you how much flavour came out of the bones. But I can notice the little pools of oil which I'll skim off the top. So you could make this with a chicken breast, but to be honest, I get more flavour from the bone in. So I'm just skimming those little pools of oil as you can see them and getting rid of them. And then sometimes little bits of chicken flake away as well. I'm going in with the chopped vegetables. If I wasn't going the convenient route, I would just use carrots, celery, all the kind of odd bits of vegetables I have about the home. But you can go for squash, carrots, whatever you fancy. Then 2 cups of the lentils. This will just make it a bit of a bulkier meal for the kids. And then I give it a good stir around, add in a little bit more seasoning. So this is all the chicken cooled and stripped down, so you get quite a lot. and then I've also saved the bones. I'm going to keep a little bit of that chicken aside for lunch. So with these bones, I'm going to put in a little Ziploc bag, and that is how I make my stock. I gather up all the carcasses and bones during the week, and the same with any scrap vegetables you would put in the composter, and then you can create your stock and freeze them in little cubes. And it sounds a bit gross if you're not into it, but it makes restaurant standard food. So for lunch then, I've got some little hot baguettes and then some bacon which was already cooked and grated cheese that was food prepped. So we're just adding some barbecue sauce and we're making baguettes. So Alistair's having 2 with some crisps because he's hungry, and then I'm just having 1 with some crisps. Sometimes on an evening, if we're not really hungry, we'd have something like this for tea with maybe a side salad or some homemade chips. But back to the soup, and I'm going to make some of my homemade wheaten bread. Now this is all the dry mix. I think I'll do a separate video because we're quite particular how we make it over here, but basically it's very easy, and the best thing is there is no yeast involved at all. So I've got my scales out. I hate to bring them out, but with this you have to be a bit more precise. So all the dry ingredients, your white flour, your wholemeal flour, you weigh up, and then I'm going to rub in the butter through the mixture. And you could do this in your KitchenAid or mixer, but to be honest you get the same result and there's just far less mess. So I just get stuck in there, and all you want to do is make sure you get it all mixed through. Then it's time to incorporate the wet mix, which for this recipe is just some buttermilk, and then I just get it mixed right through. I have measured it out, but it's always worth just altering, going by eye. The consistency that you want is it completely combined, but not a complete dough like some breads. You do need a little bit of a tack to it, but you don't want it really wet like you would some cakes. So I'm just making a circular one, and also will make a little loaf one and put it in the freezer. Now, I'm not over kneading this, as you can see. I'm just really shaping it, and then I've added some porridge oats on the top as well. This will just crisp it up nicely. And then it's nice to either put an egg wash over it, but to save the hassle, I'm just using a little bit of the buttermilk that was left over. So that will give us a nice toasting on the top of it. And then this is just going to be popped in the oven. Usually it takes a good 30 minutes. Now also create a cross right down and across, and then in each quarter I like to give it a wee prick as well. This will rise and you'll get like a nice cob loaf effect, but you can do them in any shapes you prefer. To know it's done, tap the top and also the bottom, and you will hear that it's hollow inside. Try and let it cool if you can persevere. But if not and you're testing it out, the best thing to try it with is some butter as soon as it's hot, or some nice cream and jam, and it goes down a treat with our quality control here. But back to the soup, and I've got everything here just loaded up. We've got an extra person for dinner tonight, but baby Pearl, she'll have some on her potatoes, mine and Alistair's, all of the children's, and then it's necessary to have some potatoes with it. We've got some plain white rolls, and obviously that wheaten bread and some butter. And yeah, it's just really nice and filling. This we'll probably have 2 bowls each, and then the rest of it we can just pop into little containers and keep for lunches or another evening if we fancy some soup. So feeding time at the zoo, everybody really enjoyed it. It's probably something that we would have every other week as a lunch or dinner. So hopefully you did enjoy the video, guys. Do give it a thumbs up and comment down below if you like seeing them most frequently, and of course if you're new to the channel, I'd love to have you, so make sure to subscribe.